Hey viewers, QuirkyFan73 here. Since My Hero Academia is coming an end right around the corner, I think it's about time that we should finally review the final My Hero Academia movie, or well, up to date, and I'm gonna give my own what ifs on what would I want for a My Hero Academia movie if ever made. So let's waste not any time and take a look at the final My Hero Academia movie that came out just last year. My Hero Academia, You're Next. This movie takes place right before the final war arc. It basically takes place after the UA Traitor arc, so it takes place right after Season 7, Episode 3. So with that, we kind of, it is canon, and I forgot to mention this, all of these movies are canon, if I've mentioned this before. But with that out of the way, what is the movie about? The movie is basically about Deku and Class 1A as they're essentially going up against one of their biggest enemies. Well, not really, but they're going up against someone from Europe. And not only is this person from Europe, he's also much like Izuku, a big All Might fanboy, but is a little bit different than what Izuku is. Instead of being someone who admires All Might's personality and admires All Might's ideals, this person admires All Might's power and strength and believes that's what made All Might the person he is. So he declares himself as the so-called new All Might. Along with that, you also get a guy who is going after this woman by the name of Anna, who has a quirk that can over-amplify someone's quirk up to max. And if used too much, she could potentially destroy the world. So it's up to Class 1A to not only stop this faker, but to save the girl in the process. This is the latest My Hero Academia movie, and it came out just last year. It was kind of weird that it takes place in between the final arc, but I think it was kind of worth it. And this would be the first My Hero Academia movie that I would see in the theaters. So I was excited for it. I was anticipating it. And this came out right after the final episode of Season 7 came out. So I saw that episode, then I'm going to go see the movie too. So when I watched the movie, I did not like it. I thought I overhyped myself, and I thought that the movie was okay. It wasn't great. And it goes without saying that I also saw the Japanese version. So, yeah, but I haven't seen the American one. That wasn't until I had to watch it on Blu-ray. So, yeah. So what are my thoughts on My Hero Academia My Hero Academia You're Next nearly 1 year later? Well, after rewatching it more than once, I think it's a good movie. I think I've liked it a little bit better than I didn't like it before, but now I think that this movie is good. It's definitely not as great as World Heroes Mission or Heroes Rising, but it's right in the middle of it. I like it. What should I say are some of the things that I do like about this movie? Well, I think the story is actually really good. Dude, don't get me wrong. A Nemesis All Might is like pretty much what a Nemesis Prime or a fake, or like what Bizarro would be. It's brilliant, and it's also interesting to see in this world. It kind of also helps that this movie is also a love letter for Full Metal Alchemist, because when you really think about it, it's kind of a tribute to Bones Studios as a whole and Full Metal Alchemist, which is an anime that Bones has done and is a very popular anime. Go watch it. But you can really tell that a lot of Full Metal Alchemist was kind of put into this movie, especially in terms of the villain's quirk, which is alchemy. And overall, it just feels like a little bit of a Full Metal Alchemist movie. I also like how in this movie, this is also a Deku-based story. We finally get to see Deku do a little bit more, and we really do get to see him use a lot more of his variety of quirks. We don't really get gear shift in this movie, which is kind of brilliant in my opinion, because it actually stays in line in continuity with the anime, making it actually canon. And I think Dark Might's actually a pretty interesting villain too. I don't think he's as emotionally complex as, let's say, Nine or Fleck-Churn, but he is still motivated. He's still motivated. He doesn't have any issue. Well, he kind of does, but you really get to understand, or you really get to feel so much hatred for this dude. And you not only want to see Class 1A kick his ass, but you really want to see Deku mainly show him that he isn't the true successor. The actual successor is Deku. It was never really about power or strength. It was basically the kind of mentality and the ideals that made All Might he was. Sure, his strength feared villains, but it was his admiration and his ideals that made him the hero he was today. And what are the other characters I like about this movie? I mean, I like there are two new movie main characters. Well, to an extent. I mean, Julio is fine. Like, yet again, these are characters that have a strange parents. In Julio's case, he's an orphan. And for Anna's, actually, I don't know much about Anna. But letting that fully slide, I think Julio's interesting character. Like, he has a cool design. Him being all butler-like with an eye patch, and I mean, he's just cool enough. For Anna, I mean, Anna's more of a damsel in distress, so she kind of plays it like that, and she doesn't really get to do as much in this movie as I thought she would. And it is implied that at the end of the movie, they are, I believe, the canon couple? I don't know, it's debated on whether or not you want to call it canon or not, but I'll just say it's a 50-50. And even Class 1A really gets to do a little bit more. What I mean by a little bit, I only mean by a good 15%, because they really get to do more in like the first 5 minutes, and then the rest are just there, including the pro heroes. Hell, I even thought my boy Sarah was going to do a lot much more. From what I've seen from the trailers, I thought he was going to do a little bit more in this movie. But I guess I was proven wrong. But yeah, I think it's about time that I also want to wait, I just remembered. Other things I love about this movie: the score and the animation. The animation really kicks it in. It really does feel like it came straight out of the manga, and I like that. I also love how you really get to have top animators in there, especially one of them, the legendary Yutaka Nakamura. His work in the final battle, beautiful. I haven't seen his other work like Mob Psycho or anything of from Fullmetal Alchemist or One Punch Man, but from what I've seen from his My Hero work, it's actually fucking brilliant, freaking amazing. And the score, done by Yuki Hiyashi, is once again great. He captures a little bit more of I don't know how to say it, but what he does with World Heroes Mission, he remakes some of the musical scores from the anime, such as the popular Revengers, or in this case, Mirko's theme, and You Say Run, or Next Is Our Turn, which I think is a great OST. But yeah, I've pretty much give my only good, I pretty much gave all the pros I could give for this movie. So what are my cons about this movie? Well, it's quite simple. This movie kind of sucks a little bit. Now, don't get me wrong, I think this movie's still great, and it would hold a special place in my heart because this was the first My Hero Academia movie that I saw in the theaters. But I will admit, this movie isn't good in any sort of way possible, and that's mainly because of it's just a little too predictable. You gotta remember that sometimes anime and sometimes other movies can be a little bit predictable, but this is just kind of way too predictable. It's kind of easy when it comes to Anna. She's a damsel in distress and wants to basically be rid of her quirk. But then, in the process of after Deku, Shoto, and Bakugo beated Dark Might, she ends up losing control of her power. It's a little bit cliche, but I wouldn't say cliche to a T. The other issue, Dark Might and his villains. Jesus Christ, I thought these guys were going to do so much more. It's kind of a disappointment that half of his villains, besides one of them, if you know what I'm talking about, I'm sorry, but outside of that person, half of these guys don't really do shit. These guys are just there for the plot, and it kind of sucks because I really want wanted to see what they could do more. And even Dark Knight himself lacks like a whole reason. The entire reason why he wanted to become this fake All Might was because he not only admired his strength and power, but he just wanted to take over his European family mafia. And in the process, he ends up killing his dad in one of the most cliche moments ever. Like, I'm sorry to say this, but if Two Heroes was a little bit bad with its predictability and cliche, Your Next kind of does the same thing. It's kind of frustrating, and it's kind of one of the reasons why I didn't like the movie. But, you know, when I excuse all of those, I come to realize that Your Next is still a good movie. It's not as good as World Heroes Mission or Heroes Rising, but it's like right in the middle. If I were to rank all these movies together, I would say Two Heroes is last, My Hero Academia, Your Next is number 3, My Hero World's Mission is number 2, and My Hero Academia Heroes Rising is number 1. But overall, I think My Hero Academia Your Next is an okay movie. It's definitely not the best. It has a great story, great characters, and still a tight writing in a unique way. The animation's still beautiful. The score is still great. But in terms of its villains and its predictability, you can kind of guess why I didn't like this movie when I saw it the day after the opening night. So, yeah. Did I wish it could have been better? 100 times. I wish. But, who knows? So, My Hero Academia Your Next gets a good 7 out of 10. It's an okay movie. So with that out of the way, what do I want for a My Hero Academia movie? Well, it's put simple. I think it's about time we give our love and respect to our boy All Might. It's about time we get an All Might movie, or an All Might prequel movie, because if JJK could have JJK 0, then and if JJK gives Gojo his own half-season arc, which I still think that was a terrible move from MAPPA, but with that, I think it's about time we really do get an All Might origin story. Now, what would I basically want this movie to be about? Well, it's kind of simple. His uprising to becoming the symbol of peace, how he got his scar, well, his terrible bruise mark, how he managed to put All for One in a very tight spot for the next who knows how long, and pretty much how he built himself to be the hero he was at that time. It's kind of simple to do, and it's an easy premise to make it one of Bones' best movies. Think about it. The first half could literally be All Might's childhood, where we really get to see him growing up, we really get to see him as a kid, we get to see how his mom, who I believe, I'm pretty sure somewhere it is implied that All Might's mom pretty much had a big, impact on All Might's life, because it's safe to say that she probably helped him build the foundations on what it takes to be a hero and what it means to be one. So we could pretty much have that be the first half. The second act could be him meeting Nana Shimura in Gran Torino, building up himself with One for All, him losing Nana, him going to the United States, and him meeting David Shield, where he would make his grand mark in the US. And the third act could easily be him fighting up against All for One in his rematch, and how he managed to not perfectly, but damage All for One while also getting his bad bruise. And then, perfectly, and here's how I would end it, I would basically end it right where episode 1 left off, where All Might saves Deku from the sludge monster. So, it's kind of easy to put an All Might prequel movie into development. And considering I heard that Bones is reportedly making 8 to 10 My Hero Academia movies, which I think is highly unlikely, but I think that if they ever were to do a 5th movie, please do an All Might origin story. That is the one thing that we would want. And or if there was anything else, I would want I think I would go for a My Hero Academia sequel movie, basically showing what the class has been up to these past 8 years. I would want that, but I think I lean towards more an All Might origin story, because, All Might's that guy. But yeah, anyways, that's it for my review series of the My Hero Academia franchise movie reviews. With My Hero Academia coming to a close soon, it's sad, but it's really, really amazing that we have this anime that's been with us for nearly a decade. And, I'm just glad I was able to catch up to it at a very short notice. And I'm glad that I love this series. I will continue to love My Hero Academia. And I really do hope we probably get a sequel or we just get more one-shots. But until then, and until we probably get more news on the My Hero Academia sequel, this is QuirkyFan73 signing off. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention that there is also a OVA. If you get the Blu-ray, there's an OVA called A Piece of Cake, where Deku pretty much talks about the notebook that he has, where he analyzes all of his classmates and peers, and it just leads to a whole argument with Bakugo and Shoto. It's kind of a lot like the OVA from World Heroes Mission, and all I really just gotta say is that it's funny, but yeah, I forgot to put that in the review. So yeah, QuirkyFan73 here, signing off, people.